Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus the Ancient Gladiator, and today my video is on board game designs from my ancient vaults. Let's take a look. Today's game is Hazard, a Rising Threat, a game of conquest, harvest, power, and research for up to 6 players. At the start of the game, every player will take one of 6 factions, such as Nuke, Tank, Bolt, Snipe, Bio, and Demon, and get their starting areas to build the map for the game. The first player, when setting up the map, will take their available pieces and set them up so that they're connected to the vessel, and that every piece is at least connected to 2 others. Their starting units will start the game on resource spaces and collect starting resources to put on their infrastructure. Eventually, all players will contribute to the map's construction, the main rules being that no 2 tiles of the same type can ever be next to each other. When the map is fully assembled, it's time to start the game. So the first part of the turn cycle for the game is movement. Flank units, the smallest cubes you have, can move up to 3 spaces. Combo units, medium-sized cubes, can move up to 2 spaces. Power cubes, biggest cubes available, can only move 1 space. Since everyone will have a chance to move before battles begin, there's a lot of action and reaction. Movement can be increased by spotting command in your tech. Every command lets you add 1 to 1 unit's speed. Also, pairs of arsenal and defense in your tech, also known as jetpack, lets you add 1 movement to the unit's speed. Units must stop for enemy units, period. Units are limited to not moving past certain terrain. Flank units must stop in radioactive terrain unless you have 1 defense per unit you intend to move past. Even if you use bonuses like command or jetpack, you still have to use the protective tech. Combo units are stopped by wreckage. They get tangled up. And power units, slow enough as they are already, get stopped by water. Even if you have bonus movement, you still need to protect them. To protect certain units, the tech you'll need is as follows. Defense protects flank units. Command protects power units. Arsenal protects combo units. Once everyone has moved, we check for battles. For every location on the map with units from different factions, there will be a battle. Every area can only have 1 battle per battle step. Here at the vessel, 3 different factions are clashing. First, we'll take a Battles 1 marker and place it on the location where the units are, as a reminder of where the battle is happening. And then we'll set the units to the side. Secondly, the player who's currently closest to first in the turn order, because they will be holding this token, is the primary aggressor for the battle. They will be on the main side. They will decide who to primarily oppose in battle, and any remaining factions can appeal to join either side, or choose to stay on the sidelines. Appeals can be rejected and sent to the other side of the battle both sides can reject the help, which will mean the units will be safe. But if they choose to take a side and are accepted, then they're at risk of getting hurt. Let's say this faction appeals to join this side and succeeds. So together, they will combine forces, which will help later on because every faction will contribute its dice towards the battle along with its tech. The initial contributions we check are first, flank units. The side with more flank units gets a combat results bonus as tracked on this card equal to the number of factions on that side. So here, this side obviously has more flank units and will therefore count as having 2 on the chart. So it will be here. Secondly, we check combo units. Combo units are worth 1 power each for the battle. In addition, for every flank or power unit they could be combined with, 1-to-1, they are worth +1 power. So the opposing side is gaining more power by having more flank units and more combo units. Not yet shown are power units. If they are in battle, they are worth 3 power on their own, 4 if the opposing side does not have a power unit. All the unit powers can be negated by fighting in certain terrain. Radioactive terrain stops flank units' power unless you utilize defense for the entirety of the battle. Combo units that are in wreckage cannot use their power unless they have arsenal. And power units, when fighting in water, count as only 2 power and do not count as power units if the other side has power units for unmatched, unless they are protected with command. Once the starting power is figured out, we go to Burn Wars. Once the starting power is figured out, we look at tech. Command will increase combat power by 1. However, the sides that are working together have a lot more command and are getting a big advantage out of that. Arsenal provides hits, which provide ways to wound the opposing side after the battle results are figured out. So tank and bolt are both lacking in arsenal, but they do have defense, which provides them ways to protect themselves against that damage. When all of those tech bonuses are figured in, we go to Burn Wars. Normally you get bonuses by spotting. Burn Wars lets you permanently eliminate your technology to increase your effects. Burning Arsenal for more damage, burning defense for better protection, burning command for a better outcome in the battle. This should be limited to 2 minutes, but it's ultimately a free-for-all of deciding whether to use your tech or not. But once that is done, everybody gets their dice, and we'll roll them. The player who has the most Battles 1 crystals will get the black bonus die. None of these factions have it, so they don't get it. At the start of the battle step, the player with the least alpha gets the shock die, a blue-green die. If all players are tied for alpha, then it goes to the player closest to the right among them to the first player, which would be Demon, but they're not in this battle. So everyone will have their dice and we'll roll them. If the dice on any side are ever the same, like let's say this was also a 5, then they would be negated. The advantage of the blue-green die is that it cannot be negated. And the advantage of the black die is it can negate an opposing die of equal or lesser value. So one side has rolled 8, the other has rolled 6. The difference will be used to improve the final result. So the Alliance has increased their result to 11. So the final result of this battle is 11-3. So with a difference of 8, the Alliance of Tank and Bolt is the winning side, and will inflict that difference in hits, plus the number of dice rolled by the losing side. So that's 9 hits against the losing team. So taking hits. So this side put out enough defense to absorb the hits and not have to worry about any casualties. The losing side is pretty much going to be annihilated. But there's a solution in the face of such destruction: saving your units. So flanking units can only take 1 hit. Combo units can only take 2 hits, and power units can take 3. You must take as many as you possibly can. There's more than enough to kill this side. So let's go ahead and put those crystals away. But units can be saved by spending the rarest resource that makes them up. Flank units, which only require a common resource, can be saved by giving up the common resource for the faction. So that goes away. Combo units, which cost a common and uncommon resource, can be saved by getting rid of the uncommon resource from your infrastructure. Power units, if they were in the battle and killed, can be saved with the rarest resource that your faction uses. Saved units will retreat 1 space or return to their capital. So there's the capital for Nuke right there. This is the capital tile. This is where they're located. Saved units can go here, or they can retreat 1 space. Whichever works best for you. Each faction on the winning side of the battle, even if they took enough hits to be annihilated, will receive Battles 1 crystal. Tank gets 1, Bolt gets 1, and they will return to the location of the battle. Since they are on the same side, they will occupy this location peacefully for the time being. But sometimes occupying together may cause problems in harvesting, and eventually that piece will just fall apart. 2 other things to keep in mind with battles. One is reinforcement. Potentially, you can burn command or jetpacks to move in adjacent units of yours to the battle, or flank units from 2 spaces away. Secondly is erasure. Remember burn wars? Well, every time you burn technology during a battle, you set it aside. Depending on what kind of area it is, it may contribute to the area's destruction. Burn enough technology in a single battle, and the area gets erased. It is turned into a desert. It is only ever good for harvesting capital points for the remainder of the game. And if it's the vessel that gets erased, the next alpha phase is the last one. This is the science vessel floating up in space, the start of the game. They came crashing down, and everyone's coming after it. When it's destroyed, well, what are they fighting for? After all battles are finished, we check for alpha. First, we count threat. Players get 1 threat based on units that they have in play. 1 threat for every 3 flank units, or 2 combo, or 1 power. 1 threat for every battle's 1 token, every area outside their capital. 1 threat for every 4 tokens on their acid card. In addition, occupying the vessel by yourself will get you 2 threat. Researching your faction technology will get you 2 threat. Eliminating an opponent will also get you 2 threat. If a single player has the most threat, then they will gain 1 alpha, which will provide a discount on researching the F-Tech, but also provide resources to all players lower than them on the alpha track. Also, we have the Doom die. The Doom die is reduced by the number of players currently holding the most threat. So in this instance, no one gains an alpha, but the Doom die is reduced by 3. There it is. When this drops below 1, it will make up the difference will be made from a new count from 12, and the player lowest in threat will be eliminated. Every eliminated player reduces the alpha needed to win. On a game with no eliminated players, the player who reaches 5 alpha first is the winner. After determining threat, all players will gather resources from their respective locations. A location for resources occupied by a single player will get that player 2 of that resource. A location occupied by multiple players will get 1 resource to each of those players. A power unit for 1 of those players will prevent the other players from gathering and get that player 2. If multiple players have power units, then each player will gather 1. Fuel, people, and ore all go to the infrastructure part of your card. Gathering special technology from special locations requires already having that technology that would otherwise protect a unit to gather. To gather arsenal from radiation, you need to already have defense on your card. To gather defense from water, you need to already have command on your card. And to gather command from wreckage, you need to already have arsenal on your card. Finally, the vessel. Anyone occupying the vessel by themselves gets any 2 of the 3 main tech types. So, arsenal and command, arsenal and defense, or command and defense. Players can also give up battles 1 tokens to get 2 resources of one type, but it will reduce your threat, so it's only an emergency situation. Finally, capital points. Every player gets 1 capital point for holding their own capital, and if they've defeated any players, holding on to enemy capitals. A capital point can be spent to get your basic resource. So this one could be spent to get fuel, or it can upgrade by 1 type. So you could upgrade a fuel you already have to a person, or person to ore. As the final part of the turn cycle, players will get to spend their resources as follows. By using their common, uncommon, and rare resources to build units. A flank unit requires that you have your common resource in your infrastructure. A combo unit requires a common and uncommon. And power unit requires common, uncommon, and rare. Units will go to your capital or any enemy capital that you captured and occupied. Technology simply requires resources. If you have ore and fuel, you spend 1 and flip the other, and it becomes your technology. It becomes your arsenal. If you have fuel and a person, you spend the fuel, person becomes command. And if you have a person and an ore, you spend the person, and the ore becomes defense. If you need to, you can flip them back to become resources, but it means you've lost the resources you've already spent. In addition, since you only need to spot resources for units in your infrastructure, you can permanently give up those resources from your infrastructure to build a second one. Again, emergency situation, but it may help you when you need it the most. Also, you can research your faction technology. The cost of the faction technology is 3 of your common, 2 of your uncommon, and 1 of your rare, minus the discount from the alpha track if you are at 1 or higher. For this one, Nuke Special allows them to self-destruct their units. Every faction will be able to do something special with their faction technology. After every player has built their new units and technology, the turn cycle returns to the move step and continues around. Move, battle, threat, gather, research, and build. Eventually the game will come to an end when 1 player has reached 5 alpha, minus the number of players that have been defeated, and that player will be the winner. Other ideas I've considered with this game have been players building their own outposts over the appropriate terrain. For example, defense outposts over water or command over wreckage and people, arsenal over radioactive or fuel, as a way to gain more technology and consolidate power. Secondly has been the idea of medals for doing good. Well, here's more power for you. Whoever's got the most units in their army can save their units better. Whoever's occupied the most space doesn't have a problem with movement. Whoever's got the most tech can make more efficient use of them. Whoever's got the most battles won does more crazy stuff in battle. And finally, since areas can be erased through reckless technology usage in battle and turned into a desert, which is like worth nothing, capital points can be gathered from deserts as well. There's ideas I've had with this game that are not in this edition. I got rid of them completely. I'm never going back to them. They're even bigger than power units were the mega units. They had names, they had really nasty abilities, but they were just too nasty. I had two other factions as well, Failsafe and Dragon. Failsafe is very flexible and yet very weak. Dragon is stupidly powerful and no fun at all. I decided the game was better with the 6 original factions that I had in mind. So, what inspired this game, this Hazard Rising threat? Well, first and foremost, Digital Devil Saga. A game of having this gang fighting other gangs that are also like turning into demons. It's a pretty hardcore game. Wish I'd finished it. But you can see some of the inspiration in the faction colors. Yep, those are the same colors used by the gangs. It's also part of the reason why Nuke is a favorite of mine. Hiroshima Hex as a quick little setup, shuffle, play, fast, brutal action kind of game. I have a copy of it again, and I love that game. Warcraft as the first little game of build more units, build different units, build better units, and go fight your opponent kind of game. Definite inspiration there. And Warrior Knights. Warrior Knights has this combat system of drawing cards that say, like, inflict casualties, prevent casualties, win victory. And you can kind of see that in the battle power hit block system that I use for this game. So why not release this game? Well, just about any 4X game is going to be better, I think. Eclipse may also be like a half inspiration for the game as well, and uses even fewer ships than units available for this game. Scythe, which it features battle and resources and all that, but it's more focused on trying to get these points and building up your empire, civilization, whatever, in a sensible way. Hyperborea is also one I can recommend. Bag builder, civilization development, system fighting, exploration, all that. And finally, balancing issues, honestly. So, one of the things you notice is, everyone's got their common, uncommon, rare resources. Those resources are, they may be different, but they're still the ones that are going to be used the most in close space to the capital. But those resources, being as common and uncommon as they are different for technology use. Like you see with, Nuke, for example, having, fuel and people. Obviously, they can use the fuel for more flank units, and either the fuel and people for another combo, or arsenal. They keep building up arsenal and get even more and more deadly every time they go out fighting. For others, it'll be command or defense being a common technology to go after. A previous edition of the game was far more unbalanced. There were actual stats like initiative and attack and defense. That version of the game was way harder. I'd have a little more confidence with this game selling it, but I still think a lot of these other games are just going to be more fun, more interesting. Oh no, I could be wrong. It would have been nice to see a Fallout game uh, where where it's actually two armies fighting or whatever as a board game. I know they have a miniature game for it now, but I guess this idea might be worth it or not. I just have to see who's interested, and maybe it'll have a chance. If you think this game deserves a chance at being played and possibly getting released, let me know. It has been Pillar Nexus, bringing one of my many board game ideas from my vault out to be seen. I would love to do this more, so if you think this is a good idea, like it, let me know. Thank you. This has been Pillar. Bye.